You are listening to the Adult Sabbath School Lessons for the third quarter of 2022. This is lesson number 1 of the Adult Sabbath School Bible Study Guide in the Crucible with Christ. This lesson is titled The Shepherd's Crucible and is ready for teaching on July 2. The author is Pastor Gavin Anthony, who was conference president in Iceland when he wrote this series of lessons. Today, your lesson is read by Dr. Percy Harrold. Friday, July 1. Those who are finally victorious will have seasons of terrible perplexity and trial in their religious life, Ellen White writes in Messages to Young People, pages 63 and 64. But they must not cast away their confidence, for this is a part of their discipline in the school of Christ, and it is essential in order that all dross may be purged away. The servant of God must endure with fortitude the attacks of the enemy, his grievous taunts, and must overcome the obstacles which Satan will place in his way. But if you keep looking up, not down at your difficulties, you will not faint in the way. You will soon see Jesus reaching his hand to help you, and you will only have to give him your hand in simple confidence and let him lead you. As you become trustful, you will become hopeful. You will find help in Christ to form a strong, symmetrical, beautiful character. Satan cannot make of none effect the light shining forth from such a character. God has given us his best gift, even his only begotten Son, to uplift, ennoble, and fit us by putting on us his own perfection of character for a home in his kingdom. End of quote. And that brings us to our 4 discussion questions for this week. 1. To what extent have you been aware that the terrible perplexity and trial that comes into your life may actually be part of your discipline in the school of Christ? 2. How might our help, comfort and encouragement to those in the valley be part of the shepherd's way of getting people through their crises? What things can you as a church do to be better used by the Lord to help those in need? 3. In class, go around and have each person talk about how goodness and mercy pursued them. What can you learn from one another's experiences? And 4. Think about the last hours of Christ's life as he entered into the crucible. From what you can tell, either from the Bible or Ellen G. White in The Desire of Ages, which is a great source, how was Jesus in his humanity able to endure? What can we take from his example for ourselves in whatever crucibles we face as well? Inside Story. Over the next few weeks, our Inside Story will go from week to week as a serial. To read it is my niece, Sibylla. Thank you, Sibylla.
Possessed at 11, Part 1 by Andrew McChesney. Sweat poured down 11-year-old Eduardo's face as he raced his skateboard back and forth on the street outside his house on a hot summer morning. "Eduardo Ferreira de Santos," his mother called. "Come in and take a shower before lunch." Perspiring and panting, Eduardo headed straight for the kitchen, forgetting the shower and thinking only about lunch. Eduardo ignored a stranger seated in the living room waiting for her nails to be painted. His mother ran her own home business, a beauty salon offering manicures and haircuts. Before Eduardo reached the kitchen, he was stopped by his 12-year-old sister. "Sit down and catch your breath," she said. Eduardo obediently plonked himself down on a chair. Immediately an unholy shriek escaped his lips. His body began to convulse. His mother rushed to him. A low, distorted voice spoke from Eduardo's mouth, telling his mother to hand over her son or watch him die. Eduardo's mother began to cry. "Don't worry," the stranger told Eduardo's mother. "Your son has been chosen to be a part of our group. I am a candomblé leader." Eduardo's mother had heard about candomblé, a religion that arrived in Brazil on slave ships from Africa in the early 19th century. Candomblé teaches that people can be possessed by the spirits of gods. The spirits, however, aren't gods but fallen angels. Eduardo had been possessed by one of them, an evil spirit from a legion that surrounded the stranger. After some time, the evil spirit left and Eduardo returned to normal. He didn't remember the incident, but his mother couldn't forget. and she took him to the Candomblé temple. The temple priests welcomed Eduardo like a king. "What an honour," one said. "You have been hand-picked," said another. Only 11, Eduardo was introduced to Spiritism and devil worship. Over the next 7 years, he spent much time at the temple, learning to be a priest. Evil spirits spoke to him and through him. The most important lesson, they said, was never to leave a job undone. If he started a task, he had to finish it. As an adult, Eduardo became high priest of a temple. He earned money from people who wanted him to curse their enemies. But the evil spirits forbade him from cursing Seventh-day Adventists and other Protestant Christians. "They are protected," the spirits said, adding that any attempt to curse them would cause Eduardo to lose his powers. The spirits also banned Eduardo from communicating with Adventists and other Protestants. Eduardo found a common law wife, Cedilian Silva de Oliveira, and they had a son, Eduardo Jr. Life was peaceful until Jr. said he wanted to join the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
This lesson was read by Dr. Percy Harrold for Christian Services for the Blind. Sponsored by the Sabbath School Department and distributed through Hope Channel Australia, this podcast is also redistributed by Hope Channel Germany, Christian Record Services for the Blind. It is also available on SoundCloud and through multiple podcast distributors, including Apple iTunes. And you can listen and watch at the same time on YouTube. Remember, God is always faithful.